Good evening, Trinidad and Tobago. It is Thursday, 22nd of February. I'm on at 9 o'clock. We were making way for the Frontline Show. Tonight, the Frontline Show featured host PRO and Deputy PRO Janice Lemon Creaky and Anthony Defoe, and they did a masterful show. If you did not see it, it's on my wall. It's on the Progressive Empowerment Party wall. Somebody feel free to share it and be lined up for this video. Take a look at it. It was a call-in. The entire show was a call-in segment, and it was discussing the issues about real representation and the purpose of government. And this is a topic that we touched on today. I was on the radio with Robert Amar, and we talked about this because there are a lot of people in this country suffering. And people seem to forget that there is a purpose and a reason for all things under the sun, including government. The purpose and the reason for government is the well-being of the citizenry. That's it. That's the entire purpose of government, the well-being of the citizenry. Can you say to yourself with firm conviction and courage that this government, or any government for that matter, has had that as its mandate or its reason for existing? Look at the condition of this country. Look around. Look in every constituency. Tonight, while we're doing this, the PNM should be wrapping up their stunt in La Joqueta, Talparo. And to the people of La Joqueta, Talparo, ask yourself a question tonight. If it wasn't for the pressure the Progressive Empowerment Party has put on the government to come straight with the condition and the mental well-being of the existing member of parliament, would you be having this meeting tonight? And the answer is no. I am waiting to find out if they did in fact announce Rohan Sinanan to be the candidate for the upcoming by-election that is constitutionally due. And I'll tell you why it's constitutionally due. Because we're going to write the Speaker of the House, and we're going to ask the Speaker of the House to tell the nation on what grounds she has been granting all of these leaves of absence since the 17th of September 2017. And she has to account to the nation because the taxpayers pay her salary. And the truth of the matter is the House of Representatives has been brought into odium and disrepute because of the continuous conspiracy to defraud and deceive by the PNM government that has hidden the member of parliament for the constituency of La Joqueta Talparo from the people of Trinidad and Tobago, but most importantly from the constituents who have rights. The purpose of that house is to represent the people. If the representative cannot do the job, you are bound by law. It is clearly stipulated in the Constitution. You are bound by law to call a by-election. And I hope they send the Aripo Savannah rapist, Rohan Sinanan. I hope they send the author of the destruction of Tobago. He single-handedly will go down in history as the man who destroyed Tobago. Rohan Sinanan, I hope they send you, brother. I hope they send you. We gonna meet you on the campaign trail. Better get some tall boots, brother. Anyway, share the video.
Get the tenors rolling, people on the floor. Hear the guitar and grumble, and the crowd in a uproar. All of a sudden, everything just up and chill. Everything just gone to a standstill. The crowd stuck across here. We're on with the band. It wasn't wrong with the iron one on call because the vibration was very well in. When the iron fall, it humbled the band, and everything started to crawl, everything started to fall, and the truth was plain.
What is the purpose of the scoreboard in the Oval? What is the purpose of the scoreboard in Hazley Crawford, Gene Pay Complex, National Stadium, whatever the name of that is? What is the scoreboard in any stadium or sporting facility for? You see, the media, and I'm going to keep lighting the media on fire because the media have to understand that they had a job. And some of you people stunting and masquerading as journalists are blocking real media and journalists from doing the job. Get out. Get out. Why you all not publishing on the front page the murder statistics you were doing when Kamala was in office? I'm not carrying no bag for Kamala. I ain't carrying no brief for she either. But I want to know because it must be one rule for all or not at all. And the media in this country needs to be put on continuous blast. You all have to account. There is a purpose and a reason for everything under the sun. The purpose and the reason for the media is to keep the people informed and aware of the activities of government. so that the people could understand if the government is acting contrary to the terms and conditions of the employment. If the media is in bed with the government figuratively or literally, the people in trouble. You're blinding the people. Those of you who are in media, who have forgotten that there is such a thing as a journalistic code of ethics, vacate. Find something else to do. Those of you who are in media holding on there, building a brand, hoping to get a PR stunt, vacate. That is not for you. The media serves a purpose. And if you are one of those journalistic prostitutes doing your best work on your back, vacate. You are doing nobody a service. You are bringing the term journalist into odium and disrepute. Stop it. Stop it now. Trinidad and Tobago, you need to understand that there is a purpose for all things under the sun. The moon, the stars, the rain, the clouds, everything serve a divine purpose. Media, government, they all have purposes. Insist that they do it. The Prime Minister's job is to account and to answer to the people for the organization and the operation of the country. If you do not understand what is going on in Trinidad and Tobago, your Prime Minister is failing. Your Prime Minister is failing, and we need to address that. We need to address all of that.
Murder, water, fire. Sing it up, boy. Welcome to the place where all we talk about is race. Murder, race to the rum shop, race to the mass camp, racing to belt some ways. Fire. There's an island down in the south by the Orinoco Mount with funk and fire, doom and desire. What place I'm talking about? Talking about Trinidad. We have the goods and the bad. Welcome to Trinidad.
Where?
Have the country mad.
Mad at
Talking
you.
about TDO. Mamana, that's the way we flow. Shots will fire, waves will melt when we hear a soul calypso. If you come by plane with a line, or by a boat the coast guard in sea. Water, this ain't no mama guy. This is the land of the free is free. Fire, so come on down, join the Lego. This is lawless, not Trinity. So bend back and start the bubble. All of we is one family. Oh darling, talking about Trinidad. We have the goods and the bad. Welcome to Trinidad, where have the country mad. Talking about TDO, Bacchanal, that's the way we flow. Shots will fire, waves will melt when we hear a soul calypso. Present and in his partners, we have we own reality. Down here, 1 and 1 could be 11. That's the culture you see. So hold on for the ride of your life. Who knows what's around the bend?
Share it
But
up.
if you're feeling some hesitation, remember
Shyness and rum is friend.
Oh, down, talking about Trinidad. We have the goods and the bad. Talking about Trinidad, where have the country mad.
Mad at you.
Talking about TDO, Bacchanal, that's the way we flow. Shots will fire, waves will melt when we hear a soul calypso. Welcome to the place where the people obsessed with race. Black man, Chinese, white man, Indian, racing to belt their ways. There's an island down in the south by the Orinoco Mount with funk and fire, doom, desire. Which place I'm talking about? Talking about Trinidad. We have the goods and the bad. Welcome to Trinidad, where have the country mad. Talking about TDO, Bacchanal, that's the way we flow. Shots will fire, waves will melt when we hear a soul calypso. Raise your hand but never surrender. Raise your hand but never surrender. Put up your hand but never surrender. That is Trinidad. Raise your hand but never surrender. Raise your hand but never surrender. Raise your hand but never surrender. How we love it bad. Raise your hand but never surrender. Raise your hand but never surrender. Raise your hand but never surrender. This is Trinidad. Raise your hand.
I will continue what the frontline PROs were doing. If you want to call in 682-2110 while the conversation going, you can call in and add your piece. So we will take calls, no problem. Call in 682-2110. Now you have to, you are not taking any blocked calls, know that up front. And you have to say where you're calling from. You don't have to give a name. Just say where you're calling from so that the viewers know if you're calling at all. Right. So, let me talk this. Today I put out some posts asking Trinidadians if you know these people. The first one I put up was a woman who at the age of 42 died from either murder in town during carnival or a heart attack, depending on who gave you the story. At the end of her short life, she became widely discredited, disrespected, her character assassinated, her name destroyed. You're not talking about Jean Miles. In Trinidad and Tobago, when you stand up against the nasty and disgusting PNM, the first play in the PNM stink and dirty playbook is to attack your name. Well, I know that half of y'all, if not more, who watch my videos every night have seen the litany of allegations and accusations made against me. Water off a duck back. We let it slide. Go with that. But you see, Jean Miles, when she bust the mark on Johnny O'Halloran and the gas station racket, you know what the gas station racket was? The same friends and family financer contractor kickback bullshit that destroying the country today, destroying the country since. You ever hear about the Coover Dam scandal? The Coover Dam scandal took place in the 40s under the Queen or the King. I don't know who was there then. But I want you to understand, Trinidad corrupt long time, you know. Trinidad corrupt long time. In fact, corruption was one of the things Eric Williams stood against when he went to get independence of the country. That we wanted independence from the crown, we wanted to manage our own affairs. But nothing changed. When the red, white and black went up, when the Union Jack came down, the only thing that changed was the color of the abusers. Nothing else changed. They had people who were behind the PNM then, are the same people who are behind the PNM now. They're inheritors, they're lodge brothers, they're Union Club and Clydesdale Club coffee drinkers, all them backroom boys and handshakers and deal makers. That is what owns the PNM. Not them little black hen chicken that you see getting rough up in town. Those are not the owners of the PNM. People isolate Morva, Beetham, Laventille and Silots. There is this illusion that people in Morva, Beetham, Laventille and Silots not voting for nobody else. So nobody puts up credible candidates in those constituencies. And that is a mistake. Because the people of Morva, Beetham, Laventille and Silots, like people anywhere else, are going to be willing to work with you. Now, I understand that when you divide the nation racially, when you say Indian take this half and African take that half, it's hard for Morva, Beetham, Laventille and Silots to get on the Calcutta ship. And you had to understand that. The same way Carney and Rapai Village and Coover are getting on the Laventille ship. They're not. The truth of the matter is, those two parties were created to serve a purpose. To exist as opposite ends of each other and distract you with foolishness. So the people of Morva, Beetham, Laventille and Silots end up stuck. You think they want Fitzgerald Hines as their member of parliament? Fitzgerald Hines is an absolute ass. No part of him escapes. He's an absolute ass. To listen to him talk, you understand the challenges to his ego that sent him to practice word a day. He practiced. He wanted to wax eloquently. Have you ever listened to his erudition and his pronunciation as he tries to come across as Massa with her dreadlocks? He is so confused and foolish. Fitzgerald Hines, none of that important. But he was a member of parliament and a senator, and he was fired from both and brought back as a member of parliament. He has the ignoble distinction of being the minister most fired under every version of the PNM. Everybody fired him. Keith Rowley wanted to fire him, you know. So he fired him in degrees. Because he ain't want that stunting jackass on Hamer's show busting Rowley files too. Fitzgerald Hines is loyal to Fitzy first, PNM second, PNM third, PNM fourth, then Trinidad. But Rowley is not the PNM. Rowley is a means to an end to the little PNM hierarchy below him, and the contractocracy, the business community, the controllers, the puppeteers, the master controllers, the owners of the PNM above him. Keith Rowley was plucked and put in a position by a meeting that was called in West Trinidad that fired a sitting prime minister. He remained prime minister, but he was fired, and he was told that he was fired, and Keith Rowley was put in his position. That is the PNM. That's a black people party. Miss me with that bullshit now. But Trinidadians waking up. And I said on the radio this morning, it is not enough to expose the wrongdoings of the PNM and the UNC without giving Trinidad and Tobago a real and credible alternative. Now, I want to tell you all, the reason I take the role of John the Baptist is because they can't do me nothing. They can't tap me enough, they can't cuss me enough, they can't scandalize me enough. They certainly won't stand toe-to-toe with me. Fitzgerald Hines will never show up on an episode of Hema Ramkisoon, even if he had a peek at the questions first, because he know I will beat him badly and humiliate him publicly. Neither will Keith Rowley. All his stunting and circus actor will make that ball head explode. These fellas can't play with me. So I put myself to front. Let the PEP build. We will find the right person for every role in that party, including Prime Minister. Hear what I'm telling you? But my role is to cut the track. My role is to drive the backhoe through the flames, through the fire. And I'm coming. And I'm coming hard. So the reason Trinidad and Tobago know this party exists is this stupid little video we do every night. That people share one to the other, cut up in pieces, send to WhatsApp and say, listen to this man now, man. This man talking the God honest, Allah honest, Yahweh honest, whoever else, God, Mother Lakshmi honest truth. Listen to this man. Because he undoing and exposing the madness that is Trinidad and Tobago. If we've been corrupt, if nothing that you could touch in this country has been built without somebody stealing something, you ought to tell yourself, that's not right. Now, I'm willing to accept, hear me, I'm putting this on the table so you know, I'm willing to accept the entire country broken. I'm willing to accept that. I'm willing to accept Trinidad can't fix. I'm willing to accept. I'm willing to accept we jamming still. I'm willing to accept we like it so. I'm willing to accept Stockholm Syndrome. We come in La Hoqueta, Talparo. We come in there to run for election. And we have a strong, strong candidate to come regardless of who the PNM and the UNC put. The Progressive Empowerment Party is coming with 2 bright lights for all them cockroach. And I swear to you, I'm going tomorrow in St. Finbar's Church and light a candle on the altar and say a long rosary, hoping that Keith Rowley put God out his thoughts and send stunting jackass Rohan Sidanan. Partner, when I tell you I want to encounter Rohan Sidanan on the campaign trail, I want to encounter that stunting jackass bad. Long time. Because you see, it is I who exposed the superfast Galatia. Now they distract you with all kind of foolishness. From riots in Port of Spain to all kind of other nonsense. But he still can't wiggle free. And up to this day, the people of Tobago can't go forward or backward. And all those people in Tobago have friends and family in La Hoqueta, Talparo. All them. Trinidadians take things seriously. You see the animal rights activists, I want to tell you all something. The animal rights activists in this country going to change the government. The animal rights activists in this country, they're big, they're powerful, they're entrenched, and they're committed. I want to tell you, they ignored a lot of people, you know. When it was just a racial game, they ignored a lot of people. You see the animal rights activists, when you rape their repo savannah, you get them vexed. You get them vexed. Because these people fighting for lizard, boy. They're fighting for crocodile and caiman. I get videos of people showing me injured birds, injured iguana, injured ocelot. These people, somebody tried to bust a caiman head. Chinese going to try and help the caiman. The animal rights activists in this country, all you underestimate them for too long. And the Progressive Empowerment Party promises an animal bill of rights for domestic, farm, and wild animals. It is being drafted, not by us, but by the animal rights groups together. Not the ones that get in public funding to stunt, not those. The real animal rights activists. But I just wanted to tell you, we will bring them on the platform to tell you what Rohan did when he raped the Aripo Savannah. What he did to the fragile remaining fauna of Trinidad and Tobago when that stunting jackass cut the Aripo Savannah in two. Nowhere else in the civilized world would they have even contemplated that. But if you thought that that was the sum total of the madness that this government is capable of, they are about to rape the food-bearing nurseries in St. Augustine to vote apart St. Joseph. You see, St. Joseph is a marginal seat. HTC job, I keep telling you all this, or you're not listening. HTC job is not housing for poor people, you know. HTC job is voter pardon first. HTC job is to give contractors the ability to make money building overpriced house second. That is the purpose of the HTC, to fool the people. And that's why Kamla put Rudal Munilal in charge of that. Because Rudal wasn't interrupting that at all. He just changed the orders of who was benefiting from the gravy train. If you conduct a commission of inquiry into CPEP, plenty ministers going to make a jail. Plenty ministers and their wives go make a jail. And while they have poor people painting stone and picking up leaves at the side of the road for minimum wage, the people who making the money on CPEP, because a CPEP contract is big money. And the people who making the CPEP contract money is not them little people. And every time we register a little more, every time the Progressive Empowerment Party registers a little more, they get a little more nervous. Because they know that should the Progressive Empowerment Party come to office, they know there is nowhere to hide. There is nowhere to hide. We're coming back for the people money. There's nowhere to hide. We done talking to forensic accountants and overseas investigators to bring them in Trinidad and give them a percentage of what they recover. They coming behind you. Coming behind you. They want the people money back. Get the people money back and repatriate it. Mova, Beetham, Lavantel, Sealots are not the only badly off constituencies or communities in Trinidad, but they're terribly badly off. And the truth of the matter is, East Port of Spain, what was done to East Port of Spain by the PNM to enslave them, capture them, isolate them, corral them, and leave them as boats. But today I put out Gene Miles, and I was to put out Morgan Job, I put out Raoul Pantin, and Lincoln Myers, and Selwyn Richardson. Lincoln Myers, Raoul Pantin, those were friends of mine, both dead now, and it's bothering me, because the amount of people that stood up, Dana Sitahal, that either died without seeing any change or were assassinated in this country. Selwyn Richardson was assassinated. Dana Sitahal was assassinated. What's going on with the Dana Sitahal case? God alone knows. Somebody send this to me. Rohan Ferdinand is going to be announced tonight as a candidate for La Hoqueta. Dwell on that for a moment. The man who oversaw the rape of the Aripo Savannah and the destruction of the Sister Isle through the deliberate collapse of the sea bridge. That incompetent ass. And the fools in the audience are going to applaud. We are a nation that rewards mediocrity and dishonesty. In Trinidad, we would have killed Christ earlier. He would not have gotten past the fishes and the loaves. Gandhi would have said, fuck it. Martin Luther King Jr. would not have been able to muster a 50-man march. Trinidad and Tobago is how it is because we the people want it so. Now, I telling you, mano. I have an overdeveloped norm of reciprocity. I've sent a lot of you researching this. I tell it to you again. Today I had a long conversation about it. It's about justice. I sit down in Ioli today, and a mother and a daughter came to have lunch. And this well-heeled, very well-off young lady, let's call her Lizzie, Lizzie was having lunch talking on the phone about somebody bad talk her costume for carnival. So Lizzie didn't realize or ignored that she was sitting in the seat between mommy and daughter. Or she just didn't care. And that irked me. And the person I was having lunch with asked me, but why is that bothering you? I cannot watch injustice done and not get involved. To my detriment, to my continuous expense, it costs me. And I want to tell Trinidad and Tobago this. Mano, mano. When I tell all you, if all you vote PNM and UNC back in office, I gone. And you don't need me, you ain't gonna miss nothing. I gone. But I gone to enjoy my life somewhere else. I do not believe this country have much more life in it left under either the PNM or the UNC. What they will finish thief and leave all you with is an IMF debt. Now you don't understand what an IMF debt was. And I know, because I used to watch the videos of all the Venezuelan girls and boys doing all the nice dances and things. 20 years ago, they were happy, having a time. Carnival was every weekend for them. They wasn't taking on their politics. Now, those same people reminiscing about dancing times while they're suffering and starving. They can't get medicine they can't get money from medicine, and they're eating out of dustbin. Stray dog and stray cat, rare. You can't find that. I have blackbird and pigeon on the menu. Now you tell me, you live in 22 miles from that. You've seen it. You've seen the play. You've seen what it takes to collapse a nation. Distract you with nonsense, get you hyped up with foolishness. You're going down that track, and the government, like Faris and his law. And I sent this to the media today. And I want to read something from Robin Montano. Robin Montano have to decide is either he's a pepper or he masquerading as a pepper. And I want to call out a lot of these overnight peppers, people who have been in the public for a long time, but never thought to say these things, and are saying it now. If you're a pepper, come on board and join the sauce. But we will deal with that. I put this out today and I sent it to the media. Those who do not learn from history are condemned to relive it. Slavery was legal. Let me tell you something now. The prince and princess of England was married in the cathedral where they blessed the good ship Jesus, you know. The good ship Jesus was the first slave ship on the Atlantic Passage. All you know the history. Always pay attention to history. A journalist named Phillip and me cross threads the morning. She's celebrating the length and the lovely dress that the woman wearing. I saying, but look at you, you jackass. You born in Trinidad because that same cathedral bless a ship and send it to Africa to pick up your grandparents and bring them here in chains. And you here like a seal applauding her. It is time to talk to England about sending we money back. But that's another conversation for another time. But you have to understand, slavery was legal. I have held in my hands, Fidel Gonzalez gave me a document. His grandfather owned slaves in Trinidad. And he gave me a document, a receipt, how you buy and how you sell slaves. People need to understand, slavery was legal. Right now in the world, millions of people are enslaved. If you are not enslaved, let me tell you, you could hold the key for yourself. Take a chain and a padlock and chain it around your neck and lock the padlock. And get it off. And see if you think, not me, you know, brother, not me. Watch me now. They hold real warriors, fellas who are accustomed to running down cheetah, tiger, and lion. And them hold them and put them in slavery. So if you feel you can't get enslaved, wait for it. Because the world economy could switch, you know. It could shift. All you need is think to turn awry. You see, this country, we had money for days and now we have none. In a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. You at the bottom rung, check yourself, you know. Check yourself. Slavery was legal. Apartheid was legal. Governments have needed the imprimatur of legality to abuse people for all of history. Hitler broke no laws when he seized total control of Germany and created the Nazi Empire. You know how he did it? Read your history. He was elected prime minister and he ran for president too. He had both offices and he molded both into one and made himself the Führer. Saddam Hussein was elected in a nation where criminally corrupt elections are legal. Understand, and the United States of America, through the CIA, funded his campaign. Another conversation for another time. But you see the names George Bush, Jr., Sr., all of them. If ever there is a real nation, a real world court, where people charge for war crimes, it should be those two first. But we'll deal with that another day. Understand that allowing laws to be enacted that limits or cancels human and civil rights, no matter how well intended, are always used against the masses in the long run. Benjamin Franklin said 300 years ago, those who would give up essential liberty for temporary safety deserve neither and will eventually lose both. In the United States, Malcolm X fought and Martin Luther King Jr. marched for the rights that Faris Al-Rawi would like to remove through his anti-gang bill. It is named anti-gang to deceive you, to make you believe that it is going after the criminal gangs in society is its primary purpose. It is not. There are already more than enough laws to take apart every level of criminality in this country if the government and the police wanted to. The police service can be cleaned up of the criminals in the ranks within months, simply through hiring international law enforcement professionals who specialize in law enforcement internal affairs. The anti-gang bill, if it becomes law, would empower agents of the state to enter your homes without warrants and detain you and family members for lengthy durations or nothing more than their say-so. Trinidad and Tobago does not need to add totalitarian dictatorship to the list of horrors it has endured for the 55 years of failed governance. Stand up against Faris and the PNM and this draconian civil rights eviscerating anti-gang bill before it becomes illegal to stand up or speak out against anything at all. Understand this. Once it becomes law, the game changes. Anything they want to do after that, they could. And those who attempt to stand against governmental abuse can be labeled gang members and silenced. Venezuela had a real democracy once, until they took a chance, trading essential liberty for what was sold to them as reform. Look at Venezuela now. Decades of abuse and violence as the people tried to reclaim what was once a peaceful nation and theirs by right. Is that what you want for Trinidad and Tobago? A financier seizes your property or moves against your business and you protest and become an instant gang member and jailed. You speak out against injustice at work or even in your personal life and are labeled a troublemaker and an instigator and you are arrested. Again, are you prepared to negotiate the laws that protect you in exchange for laws that can be used against you? Last question. Look around. What can you find to use as evidence of anything that was done in the 55 years of our independent existence that proves to you that any government we have ever had could be trusted? Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Be very careful who you give more of your power to. The people of Germany, during the Nuremberg trials, said, by the time we realized what Adolf Hitler was doing, it was too late to stop him and terrifying to try. Adolf Hitler was a master at mind control. Between him and a fellow by the name of Goebbels, who created modern day propaganda, they knew that it was not enough to just kill the people who stood up against the Nazi Empire, but they had to torture you in ways that people didn't conceive before. When they hung you, they didn't hang you with rope. They hanged, because the word for hanging by your neck is not, the past tense is not hung, it's hanged. They hanged you with piano wire. So it cut into your skin. while hanging you. And just as an aside, that is why the Romans used crucifixion on a high hill outside the city. When you were crucified by the Romans, what they did was they put nails through your wrists and not through your feet, through your ankle bone. When you see a picture of Jesus Christ on the cross with his 2 feet crossed, so that's not what they used to do. They used to nail you through your wrist bones to a plank of wood and then haul you up on a tree or a pole by that plank. So your entire body is being pulled up by 2 nails in your wrists, and that plank is dropped in place in a notch on top of the tree or the pole, and then your 2 feet are put to the sides of the tree or the pole on either side, and a nail sent through your ankle bone, severing your sciatic nerve. They knew the maximum point of pain. So now you are held aloft by 4 nails. Your body is held aloft by 4 nails. And as you relax the pain, as you relax the pain from your wrist and put your weight on your ankles, all of the pain, it becomes unbearable. And for all the time it takes for you to eventually suffocate and die, because what you're doing is you spend the entire rest of your life on that cross trying to hold yourself up on your wrist nails, because putting the weight on your ankle nails were unbearable. So it's a constant battle until you slowly surrender and your chest can't raise anymore for you to take a deep breath. But for the usual 3 to 6 hours it took to die, every breath you screamed your lungs out. Every single breath. For the rest of your life, you screamed in unbearable agony. You screamed and you bawled and you begged and you promised and you negotiated and you tried anything that would get you. You begged them to kill you. You would be begging people on the ground, just kill me, screaming at the top of your lungs. And they would crucify people in groups, like on a Sunday, just after lunch. So that the whole country, the whole city, hear people scream for 3 to 6 hours. They say when it was done, and the last person taken down from the gallows, the cross, you could have heard yourself sweat. It was so silent. Not even birds chirped. 6 hours of 10, 15, 20 people screaming in agony at the top of their lungs. Hitler matched that. Hitler invented Zyklon B gas to kill the Jews, but slowly. So when they put them in the gas chambers and they dropped the Zyklon B gas into the chambers, it would strip the linings of your lungs and burn you from the inside out. There is a band, a rock and roll band called Spandau Ballet. They had a big hit called True. They named themselves after what the German soldiers, the Nazi soldiers who were in charge of murdering people in the gas chambers, they used to look through the windows at these people, writhing in agony, trying to climb the walls, climbing on top of one another. They used to call that the Spandau Ballet. Spandau Ballet. Saddam Hussein and Faris al-Rawi, father, used to work with Saddam Hussein. So Faris al-Rawi could tell you what I'm about to tell you is true. Saddam Hussein used to keep prisoners, political opponents, in a special cell to be used for testing new developments in mustard gas and chemical warfare. They would infect you with anthrax and with other diseases and leave you to die. In India, the British had come up with a way to kill people. And if you ever heard of the saying, the dark hole of Calcutta, the dark hole of Calcutta is what Hitler copied. I know this is a real gruesome street we're on, but you had to finish it. The dark hole of Calcutta, Hitler copied. And if you ever saw the movie Sophie's Choice, you would have seen referenced it. In the dark hole of Calcutta, they took a jail cell designed to hold 1, maybe 2 people, and crammed 75, 80 people in it, and it would take men to push the door in and close it. So now you jammed. You can't move. You cannot move. You can't scratch your nose. You can't move anything. You are literally jammed together in a small room, a sea of human flesh, one solid mass, and people slowly die. Inside of there, people slowly die. The person face to face with you could die. And you are now there looking at dead people while you wait to die. You are packed so tightly you can't scream. Hitler did that with the train to Auschwitz. The train to Auschwitz was like that. When it arrived, who was already dead, they burned them. I'm telling you all of this because right now in the world, atrocities like that and worse takes place. You live in a country where the media is a government puppet. You think the media come in to cover political opponents if you're in trouble? You think the media, Rhea Rambali, stunt artist extraordinary, or you think I forget she? But she's not no, anyway. You see, I'm so vexed with these media whores. I mean, I'm so vexed with them. They've aided and abetted the corrupting of my country. A handful of people, you know. It is a handful of people behind the PNM that are siphoning the wealth of this country, that are using human misery as a disguise, as a distraction, so that they could continue to siphon the remaining wealth of this country. And the media, their job is to play distraction games. Propaganda. Propaganda. So Edmund Dillon could give his daughter a job and nobody cover it. Nobody cover it. The conversation we have to have as a people starts here. Who killed Selwyn Richardson? Who ordered that shot? Who killed Dana Sitaha? Who ordered that shot? Who killed Jean Myers? Who ordered that shot? Who covered up the murder of Akil Chambers, raped and buggered by multiples of depraved, crazy men in an upper-class party in Highland Park, and then put in a pool the next day? And I always wondered, where did they hide the body? The party was still going on, a birthday party for children going on. And you know a dead child to hide. Where did you hide the body? How did you go home, sleep, and come back the next day? Who did you plan with? Hey, you're meeting up, you're going to move that body and drop it in the pool. Yeah, I'm away. Who did you plan with? Who? I will be able to say I did my best. I tried my best. And I don't care who vex. If you come at me, I will expose you. So if you come in, come good. No friend, no family getting away. And it is that serious. Because you cannot continue to change the flavor of the Kool-Aid thinking something will change. You cannot ask the UNC that had 10 years in office that failed to deliver to the people of Trinidad and Tobago, you cannot expect them to have suddenly grown a conscience. I see they put out a thing where they have some new faces with some old faces, and they say they mix in experience with what? Something else. And all I see they mix in there is bullshit. Because the UNC under Pandey and the UNC under Kamala are counted to the same owners. The same small handful of people that benefited when the UNC was in office. Now the PNM had 40 years of practice. Stink and dirty. Stink and dirty. PNM had 40 years to practice. The Tobago House of Assembly is a slave ship. The Tobago House of Assembly job is to keep 67% of the population of Tobago barely sustaining themselves. There is no credit. There is no access to small business. If you're in a small business, they do everything in their power to destroy you. And the superfast glacier being sent away and the collapse of the sea bridge was an acceleration of a pogrom. Go and Google what a pogrom is. To reduce the people of Tobago to serfdom. The people of Tobago right now in a desperate situation. Desperate. Desperate. The media not covering it. Grocery shelves in Tobago empty. Grocery shelves in Tobago empty. People in trouble on that little island, our sister island. And we jamming still. But I want to say, and to my detractors, to my haters, hey man, all you just billing my name. Because every time you share my video, you see, you're not sharing a bullshit artist. The content of what we share, so spot on, that even when you share it and you try to defame and emasculate my name and slander and attack my character, people reading what you're sharing. What you're sharing, they saying, but wait now, alright, I get it, you don't like the man, but you read this, and I go, because when you share my post, Facebook tells me all the shares, and I can click it and see 500 shares, and I run through them, because I like to know what people saying when they share anything. And I watch the haters share, boy, I wish this man would just shut him out. And others in the conversation on his share saying, bro, you read this? The man talking sense. You read it? And what's happening that's panicking them is that the people are waking up. They don't know where they're going. They don't know who they're supporting, who they're voting for. But they know that the reflection on the wall of the cave is not all that exists. They know that there is a lot more that they're entitled to. The allegory of the caves. Plato. Google that. Read the allegory of the cave. Trinidadians, a lot of us still hanging from the roof of a cave, facing a wall, seeing a reflection on the wall for all of our existence, believing that is all that exists. But as more and more minds are open and more of the slaves get free, and they come back to say, whoa, we could have education that delivers to everybody. All 200,000 children in our education system could be benefiting right now. All of the citizens of this country could be benefiting from first world healthcare without spending an extra cent on top of this $5 billion we spent right now. The justice system, the jails could be transformed into universities. A little guy named Rick was published in the Newsday. The PNM trying to follow we, organize a meeting saying business community help we sending them out in CPEP. Rick says, slow your roll, friend. Inside of there, I taught myself to read and I got myself an education. I am going to further my development. I am on a CPEP contract. And Rick, have a round of applause, brother. And the PEP, if it is ever government, will transform the jails into universities. So the people who fall through the cracks of society because for some reason education left them behind or they didn't have the right nurturing as babies, the Progressive Empowerment Party understands that the well-being of the citizenry is the responsibility of the government. It is not about shame the victims. It's not about blame the poor for their choices. It is no longer about noise and bacchanal. It is understanding human beings where they are, where they find themselves along the road of life, and doing what you could to assist them to get to a place where they could maximize their full potential. One of my favorite quotes is by a former slave who taught himself to read and educated himself to the point that he ended up in Congress, a man by the name of Frederick Douglass. He said, "It is far easier to raise functional children than to correct broken men." In Trinidad and Tobago, we've flipped that script. We've broken the family, destroyed the community, and eviscerated the neighborhood. People don't know when they come in, when they go in. Who minding their children, who reach where, who doing what. The neighborhood is no longer one family. It is transient. It is people passing in and people passing out as they're trying to survive. A Progressive Empowerment Party government has as its first priority the empowerment of the family, home ownership for all as job one, even minimum wage earners. Zero deposit, zero interest for 30 years means that you can buy a home for $100,000, which is very easy to do. And you could buy a home because right now, I could tell you, we could import houses from China and America and Brazil for $10,000 US that come in here and they just open it up and they set it up as a kit, 9 to 1,100 square feet, fully outfitted. It exists. And you could buy a home for $100,000 and your mortgage every month is less than $500. So a minimum wage earner who making $2,250 a month could spend $500 on the mortgage, on the roof over his children's heads and spend time with them, molding them, developing their character, teaching them right from wrong. He don't have to work 9 jobs. He could own a home so that when he closes his eyes for good, he leave a piece of equity behind for them. That is job one. Rebuild the family. That will, if you have a neighborhood of homeowners, it is not possible for a gang to set up a gang house there. It is not possible for drug dealers to set up a drug den there because the people own the community and they want to defend the community. So if you combine home ownership with proper community policing, the game done. In a nation where we've secured the borders so the drug dealers can't bring in the drugs. And the police service is motivated and incentivized. We've cleaned it up. We've removed the rogues and the criminals in the first 6 months in office. And we're doing exercises, with joint exercises, military exercises, with international partners to eradicate the gangs. Remove them. All of a sudden, it starts to make sense. So your home, you own your home, you have your simple job, but it is enough to put a roof over the head of your family's head, and we will reduce the cost of basic supplies so you could feed your family. All of a sudden, the things start to make sense. And we promise you, every school in this country, regardless of where it is based, will be a prestige school. All schools will have the same tools and the same access to the same knowledge, the same abilities, the same to impart knowledge and ability to the children. GPAs, 10-year schools, no more SEA. Imagine in the community where families own their homes and the children going to school in the community where the family own their homes, and all those children growing together from the age of 4 and 5 to 14 and 15 during their developmental years, growing together but that is a strong, knitted community. The families dealing with one school for all their children, one principal and all these teachers for the entire academic basic career of the child. And now all of a sudden things like the PTA start to make sense. the Parent Teachers Association, because you want your child to do better. So you'll get involved and you'll assist and you'll guide. All of a sudden the community makes sense, and somebody get in trouble or somebody have an accident and there is an emergency or a heart attack or a stroke, and you call an ambulance and within 7 to 10 minutes it's there to take you to an emergency medical facility in your constituency. 41 of them we're going to build. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, accident and emergency with minor surgery suite that could deal with heart attack, stroke, chopping, gunshot, dismemberment, all the basics, the top 10. Whatever it is people end up in casualty for, that will deal with that. We'll be using something called nurse practitioners, which is a higher level of nurse, not yet a doctor, but enough to manage and stabilize and control. Because if you don't know, most of the managing and stabilizing that takes place in hospitals are done by nurses. But you would have a GPS-controlled, paramedic-operated ambulance fleet that when they're on their way, the same person who took the call as to why you going to which health center would be calling out the doctor. You'll have one doctor on call for numerous health centers. Save us money. The well-being of the citizenry is the only purpose of government. And if they're safe, if they're secure, if they can own their home and feed their children and educate their family and protect them in case of emergency, get out people's way. Give them hope and opportunity, get out their way. Get out their way. You don't need to come and wet nurse them. You don't need to come and mark what they're doing. Give them hope and opportunity, get out their way. If you have a child in the school and not performing, you have to identify why. It will trigger itself. It will show up on a GPA, on the child's results. The teacher has a responsibility. Any child that falls below a certain mark, you need to bring it to the attention of the principal. If the principal gets involved and they can't address it, that principal needs to bring it to the attention of the constituency supervisor of education, who makes a decision if to involve social development or the Ministry of Education to help right-size this child, because every child has a right to first world education. All of a sudden the thing makes sense. All of a sudden the farmers who want to farm get access to land to farm. All of a sudden the thing makes sense. We could do this, Trinidad and Tobago. I'm telling you, we could do this. We could turn this Titanic around. We could turn it around, and I'm in a rush to give out all of my knowledge and all of these ideas. I want you to have it and to take it and to own it and to share it and to say, this is how to fix it. Because even if you vote for somebody else, ask them, what is your plan for home ownership? Because I watched the HDC take poor people money and build Victoria Keys Heights something. And then the UNC come into power and spend more money on top of it and make it impossible for even middle-class earners to buy. So what they had to do now is turn around and subsidize rich people housing. You are no longer, they've strayed so far from their remit. What they've built opposite Victoria Gardens next to Powder Magazine, we've built subsidized middle-class housing, You think you understand the level of bullshit going on in this country? If you want to fix it, put the bacchanal and the old noise aside. Let me start to talk what is wrong and how to get it correct. I hope the people in La Hoqueta Talpawa tonight ask Peter Rowley, brother, what have you done with the 2.5 years your government has been in power for the people of Tobago and the people of La Hoqueta Talpawa?
Your vote will decide our destiny. Your vote will decide what you want to be. Your vote can foretell our country's fate. But use it well before it's too late. If it is that who you're voting, fail beyond a doubt. When you're voting, vote them out. Vote them out. If it is they prove it to be only full amount. When you're voting, vote them out. Vote them out. If it is the time is now that change should come about. Just as how you vote them in, vote them out. Register and vote them out. If they don't see, vote them out. Stain your finger again. Put them out of power, terminate the reign. Let's put our country together again.
I hope the people in La Hokata Talpao wait for you to come on stage, chook and walk out and tell you, miss me with your bullshit, Rowley. Or you're fooling for people for too long in this country. Advantage after advantage, miss me with that.
If for 30 years you voting them in, and it's only tears as soon as they win, they give you big words and enslave your soul, promising you roads and giving potholes. If they are the reason why the economy won't sprout, when you're voting, vote them out, vote them out. If it is the passing laws that them alone can flout, when you're voting, vote them out, vote them out. If it is the building eyesores, east, west, north and south, just like how you vote them in, vote them out. Register and vote them out. Totally vote them out. State your finger and vote them out. Rescue the country, vote them out. Vote them out with tempo. They happy in pain. Let's put our country together again. Vote them out with calypso and joyous refrain. Let's put our country together again.
This Saturday at noon, 19th Stanmore Avenue, we're having a massive public meeting. Come out and your voice, be a part of the movement of change. On March the 10th, we, Progressive Empowerment Party, will be having a rally in La Hokata Talparo. The address is on the line. Look out, link up with Denny or Felicia or any of the team members.
If their policy is a fallacy, bureaucracy, a catastrophe, if they cannot cope and you see it so, then your only hope is for them to go. If it is fabrication, these statements that they spout, when you're voting, vote them out, vote them out. If it is that frustration that's make you want to shout.
And when Inchan Ishmael and the rest of them talk about the size of our rallies, I want to tell you a couple things about the size of our rallies. Unlike the PNM and the UNC, we don't pay people to attend our rallies. We don't send maxis to pick you up. We don't provide transport. We don't give you a free jersey. We sell our jerseys. Our jerseys cost $80 and $100. When you see people in PEP jerseys, they're investing in the party. We are not the giveaway. We don't have no contractor finances to pay for it. When you see the crowds at our meeting, those are real, genuine patriots who want a better Trinidad and Tobago. They are in no way indicative of the size of the following. But those are the people who don't care. Don't play a comment and give me no victimization talk. I want a better Trinidad and Tobago. And I coming out to stand up. And I want Inchan Ishmael and the people like him to know this. When Martin Luther King Jr. addressed the Million Man March, he said to them, this is the same message that I have been sharing when I was standing on soapboxes alone on street corners. The Progressive Empowerment Party is growing despite the best efforts of the corrupt and complicit media who have hidden us away from the public. We've had 40 weekly Saturday meetings in 2017, 13 public rallies, well attended, and they've covered none. We've sent them pictures, information, invitations, everything that you could want. The corrupt and complicit, disgusting media. If you think Sabga News Network and Massa Media is two different things, explain how in 2015, one corrupt journalist, Sunati Maraj, ex-wife or wife of ex-politician Lloyd Bess, She was the political news manager of both CNC3 and TV6. Two competing stations. Miss me with that. Listen, the Progressive Empowerment Party is a train on a track. We are on our way to governance. And I hear Peter George sent to tell me we start too soon, bro. This is not a shot at government. We're here to educate, inform, and empower the people. It doesn't have to translate to votes for us. Once it comes down to people who see and understand how things should be, new parties will be born. Real, genuine patriots will be able to stand up. I like how it is provoking people like Robin Montano and them to start talking now. People don't want to hear the David Abdullahs and them with their bullshit. If you ain't coming today, I was driving up a street in St. Clair and the OWTU was marching outside a company called Rowan. I didn't know what it was, and I stopped, and I got out the car to go and ask, and I got a round of applause. That is OWTU. I get them kind of squeezing, hug up and thing. And that's OWTU. The Progressive Empowerment Party is a train on the tracks. This is not a game. The first party that within 1 year of its existence is writing a manifesto of such serious earth-shaking programs, policies, and ideas that the country knows that it could fix itself. People suddenly, all of a sudden, they say, somebody told me it's like a conspiracy of hope. All of a sudden, people saying, don't worry about that, it could fix. On what day it was this week when I told people, on Monday, I told people, I said, ease off the WhatsApping of all them damn stupidness. It dry up. People just want leadership. They just want guidance. They didn't know what was the right thing to do before, and they're getting an understanding now. Besides social media, we have them in the offices. They're on their cell phones. They're talking over the wall in the communities. They're telling you the Progressive Empowerment Party will make a political earthquake when the election is called. I believe that. You look at the people who are standing up and speaking for the Progressive Empowerment Party now. March the 10th. Come La Hoqueta Talparo. Come to that meeting. Come and see what is real governance. What is politics of the people, for the people, by the people. Come and see it. Come and see one people under one flag with a vision for a better Trinidad and Tobago. Come and see that.
When you're voting, vote them out. Vote them out. Before they misuse out, deep out, sell out, and digs out. If it you vote them in,
you that vote them in,
vote them out.
please
Register and vote them out. All of them, vote them out. Stick your finger and
vote them out.
them and the system.
Them and the system.
Vote them out in Scarborough and in Port of Spain. Let's put our country together again. Vote them out in Komuto and in
Progressive
Caribbean.
Empowerment Party
Let's put our
is on a general election footing. Our campaign team has been assembled. We have called to order our screening committee. We started with La Hoqueta Talparo. Keep rolling. Do the nation a favor. Admit defeat. Admit that you failed. Resolve the parliament. Call an election. Give the people back control of their country. You've made a mess of it. You've destroyed it. What was left of it, you've broken.
People must come first.
People must
Citizens
come
by
first.
right.
Citizens by right.
None of we are worse.
None of we are worse.
Yellow, black or white.
Yellow, black or white. Food, shelter and clothes. Free movement and speech. A garden that grows. And one law for each.
If it is that injustice is what they always show. When you're voting,
Vote them out. Vote them out.
if it is that avarice
It's all they seem to know. Avarice is greed.
voting,
Vote them out. If it is their politics, it's just a puppy show. When elections day come, all bandits must go.
register and
Vote them out.
if they don't see,
Vote them out.
stay no finger and
Vote them out.
show them no mercy.
Vote them out.
Vote them out with total scorn.
All 41.
And utter disdain.
Red crapo, yellow crapo, same handful of salt. Put them out.
Put them out of power.
Terminate their reign.
Let's put our country together again.
The time to wake up, stand up, and speak out is now. Trinidad and Tobago, we are going to rescue this nation and make it the paradise on earth it was meant to be. peptrinbago@gmail.com, the email address, peptt.com, 347-4PEP. The PEP app is PEP, APP, 2 words, PEP app, available on all app stores, free of charge for you to download. Until I see you again, stay safe, Trinidad and Tobago.